My name is Judilyn Cabal, and I want to welcome you to the Making Today Matter podcast. My prayer and desire is just to be an encouragement to anyone who comes across this show. I'm a Christian, a wife, a mom, and I have a passion to help other wives, moms, and ladies be the women that God created them to be. In a culture that's constantly changing, and in a world that's fighting for our attention on a daily basis, we need women like you. You matter, today matters, and God can use you to make today matter. So join me as we discover the author who is writing each of our stories and uncover the destiny we each were meant to fulfill. Welcome, ladies, to the Making Today Matter podcast. Happy 2023. Isn't it? It's just so weird saying that, but Happy New Year. How's everybody doing? Excited? Nervous? Fearful? I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit of, or all of the above. But it's been great. I look back on 2022 and I can't help but just really thank the Lord for all that He did and in my life and all that He is, honestly. And 2022 was great, but there is a lot of room for improvement. I can say, at least in my life. And one thing new that I'm doing for this year is a word for this season. I used to do a word for the year, but it was a long thing. It was a long year, and so there are 4 seasons in a year, and we're all in different seasons. I could be in a different season than you are, and I wanted to do this so that what my word for this season can be the same next season and the next, but it could also change. And so this year, the Lord gave me the word intentional. And I read that living intentionally means living a life that aligns to your values, your beliefs, and your passions. Okay, let me repeat that. Living a life that aligns to your values, your beliefs, and your passions. And ladies, my values and my beliefs are non-negotiables. Okay, they are things that I will not forsake. They are things that are vital to my life, to my being. And the foundation of my beliefs is in a person, and that person is Jesus Christ. And if you haven't, experienced Him, or if you don't know Him personally, I encourage you to begin this year. Begin this year on the right foot, on the firm foundation, and that's knowing personally Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, so today I wanted to share with you just 6 things, okay? 6 ways on how to live with intentionality, or 6 ways to live intentionally, okay? So I'm going to get right into it, okay? So number 1, reevaluation. Reevaluation. This means reevaluating your priorities, your relationships, and ways that you can do that are by asking these questions, okay? What were the good things and what were the bad things from last year? Okay, so think back on last year, which is hard to believe that it was just yesterday, but think back on last year and what are the good things that happened? What are the good things you did? What are the good things that occurred, that you experienced? What were the good things that God did for you? And then also, what were the bad things? Maybe what were the bad things that you did? What were the bad things, or what are the bad things that you can avoid this year? And what can you learn from those? Okay, what can you learn from those? Then ask yourself, which people tore you down last year rather than build you up? Which people tore you down last year rather than build you up? It's so easy to tear somebody down. I remember growing up, we've all heard the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words cannot. And later, I didn't know until later on that words can break you. Words are so powerful. And that's something that, I need to work on. And one way that I'm doing that is just beginning my year going through the book of Proverbs, because the book of Proverbs is so much about our lips, so much about our tongue, so much about our mouths. And I want to be intentional on what I say this year. I want to be intentional in what I think, because what I think, what I believe, it's all going to come out. All right. So next, what or who drew you closer to your purpose? Okay, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, man, like, what is my purpose? I have no idea what my purpose is. Let me just tell you that you have a purpose. Okay, you have a reason for living. God made you for a purpose, and He wants you to fulfill that purpose. But you know what? I've learned you cannot fulfill your purpose alone. You need people. You need people who will draw you closer, take you one step further or farther into who you're meant to be, who you're supposed to be, and what you're supposed to do. Okay? So, reevaluation. Reevaluate your priorities, reevaluate your relationships. Okay, what are some things you need to get rid of this year? They shouldn't even be in the priority list. They shouldn't be at the bottom of the priority list. They should just be like not there. Okay? Reevaluate your priorities. What are your top 3 priorities today? Your top 3 priorities today. Okay? Secondly, discontinuation. So reevaluation, and secondly is discontinuation. What does this mean, Judy? Well, it means stop the bad habits. Okay, remove the bad relationships. Okay, what are some bad habits what were some bad habits that you had last year? Oh, I could name a few. Okay, I could name a bunch. But discontinuation, okay, stop the bad habits, remove the bad relationships. Let me just tell you that if it didn't help you, it probably hurt you. Okay, and if it did not grow you, it probably stagnated you. Okay, it kept you where you were. It's like you are um where you were in December, where you were in December 2023. It's like you were in the same place in January, December 2022. You were in the same place in January 2022. You didn't move in those 12 months. In those 365 days, you stayed in the same place. And that is so dangerous. Anybody who's not growing is not living, okay? Anybody who's not growing is not living. All right, so if it didn't help you, it probably hurt you. And if it didn't grow you, it probably stagnated you. Okay, so what are some bad habits that you had? Complaining, time wasting, covetousness, smoking, drinking, I don't know, you name it. Okay, thirdly, experimentation. Really simple. Try new things. Okay, maybe you have something on your bucket list that you've been wanting to do, you've been putting off for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Okay, try new things, set new goals. Maybe you had some great goals that you accomplished last year. Why don't you add on something new this year that you can do? You won't know unless you try. Okay, you won't know unless you try. It's better to try and fail than to not try and fail. You see, setting new goals or trying new things doesn't mean that they are permanent. Over time, you're going to discover what works for you, your schedule, your lifestyle, and what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. So experiment, try new things. Okay, so next, fourthly, administration. Okay, so now once you find what works for you, administer that and just repeat it again and again. Let me ask this, if it works, why not use it? If it's working, why not continue to use it? Okay, now, once again, we're all different. What works for me might not work for you. So you're going to have to try and figure that out first before you administer it over and over again. Okay. All right. So, fifthly, reconstruction. During your journey, you're going to need to reconstruct. Okay. You're going to need to rearrange some things. You might have to go through some detours. And even when things are going well or are working out for you, you may need to reconstruct to find a better and more efficient way to administer your tasks. Okay, so the detours in life, okay, they're not all bad. Sometimes detours are what is needed for you to grow. Sometimes detours are what is needed to protect you. So be willing to be flexible, to rearrange, reconstruct. Okay. Don't don't assume that one way is the only way for you to accomplish something. There might be a better way. There might be a more efficient way. Okay. And lastly, so after you've reevaluated, after you've discontinued, okay, you've stopped the bad habits, you've removed the bad relationships, you've experimented, you've administered, you've reconstructed, then guess what, ladies? Then you'll see a transformation. Then you will begin to see yourself transform. You'll begin to see your habits transformed. Whether it could be in your goals, it could be in your tasks, it could be in your time management, in your relationships. Okay. So I want to have a new thing that I'm starting. It's called a call to action, and it might not be in every episode, but it could be. It just depends on what kind of episode it is. But I want to have a call to action. That means that, it's great that you're listening to this episode. It's great that you're educating yourself or you're being informed. But education or information, okay, without application, there's going to be no transformation. Okay, so you can educate all you want, you can inform yourself all you want, but if you don't apply, you won't be transformed. Okay, so I want to hear from you, whether it's through commenting on this podcast episode or commenting on the post on Instagram. What did you learn from last year? What were the good and the bad things that you learned from last year? And then more importantly than that is, how can you improve in this new season? How can you improve in this new chapter of your life? Because guess what? Today, you've already begun writing this new chapter. And God is writing this new chapter in your life. But you have to choose. You have a choice to make. Okay, are you going to live with intention? Or are you just going to live by accident? You're just going to go with the flow, go with the trends? Or are you going to live intentionally? Live a life that aligns to your values, your beliefs, and your passions. So I'd love to hear from you all. You can message me on Instagram, Facebook, or leave a comment on this episode. I encourage you, ladies, be intentional this season, okay? Because this is where it starts, with you choosing intentionality in what you do, what you say, how you do things, how you say things. And with that said, I want to invite you to come join me back again next week and the following weeks as I encourage you and chat with you on how we can be intentional in our marriage, in our motherhood, and in our ministries. All right. So with that said, I wish you all an awesome new year. Take care. God bless. And I will see you next time.